This is Bowling Beyond 200. I am John Baker. Um, in the news today, let's real quick. We have big news on the Ebonite campus. They have signed Ronnie Russell to a pro staff contract. Russell has 4 standard PBA titles to his credit, and he had a spot on the Team USA in 2016, a doubles and team gold medals in the 2000 PABCON championships. And in other news, Jacob Butruff has signed a pro contract with Columbia 300. Today, though, we have a very special guest with us, a gentleman I've known for quite a while. He went from a regular bowler to working in the bowling industry, leading as he's got quite a few titles. We'll call it VP Operations. It's Bob. I guess they call him Papa Smurf Kuliga. Hi, welcome to the show, Bob.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's say Bob here is Director of Sales and Marketing for California Bowling LLC. And you have such brands as Lane Masters and Lord Field, correct?
Yes, Lane Masters, Lord Field, Legends, all done by the one company. Yes, we're out of Stockton, California, but I spend half of my time going to Stockton, half living still back in Massachusetts.
So you're a big commute, I would imagine.
Yep. But with today's technology, I'm able to do most of the things I need to do right by phone or computer. So it worked out for me, yeah.
Well, good. And I know Bob and I go way back to the now defunct Jet Bowling days. We were both staffers at one time. Tell us a little about how that experience, I know you were a staffer about the same time I was, how did that experience prepare you for what you're doing now?
Well, it gave me different ideas, like how to set up the staff program. Coming to Lane Masters from Jet, Tony had already had a basic staff, the way he wanted it set up, but I was able to bring into the aspect of social media, using Facebook, creating the groups in there. That way we were pushing the staff program. Working with Jet, I also saw what worked, what didn't work. So I would constantly bounce things back and forth with Tony. And like if he brought something up, I'm like, Tony, we've already tried that. This was the downfall of it. Or Tony, we need to try this because this is what worked. So I was able to use that as more or less just the basic experience, what I needed to take the company and build it, and to help Tony build it while Tony was still with us.
I know, and we all miss Tony very much. I know we're sad to see that he had passed. But he had his long fight with cancer, correct?
Right.
And we were all real sorry to see him go.
Yeah, Tony knew it was it was November of 2015 that he was really diagnosed with the cancer, and then they were trying different treatments. But right away in January of 2016, that's when he said, it's not working. They're going to try one more aggressive treatment, and if that doesn't work, there's really nothing left to do. They tried it, it didn't work. So that's when he said, okay, let's prepare you to take over. And I had a long relationship with Tony. We used to bowl competitively when we were junior bowlers and things like that, traveling to different tournaments. And then we lost touch. Tony went his way, I went mine. I was doing most the local scene, New England, bowling, Nevas, stuff like that. Tony was on the West Coast, and it just happened to be from Jet. I knew when they were having some issues, I was talking again with Tony, and he said, why don't you come help me? So that's when I talked with the leaders of Jet and said, look, I've been offered this opportunity. I really need to take it. They gave me their blessing, so that's when I went to Lane Masters, and I've been there. It's going to be about 4 years now, if not a little bit longer.
Did you ever think that in your wildest dreams that you'd actually get to, live the dream, get to bowl and actually run a bowling company? Is that something you'd worked for before?
It's funny because I had mentioned this before with a couple other people. They had asked me the same thing, and I was like, I had friends that when we were younger, we would bowl the JBTs. They had talked about going and bowling professionally. I always talked about developing bowling balls and having a bowling ball company. So actually, I ended up living the dream, and it's And it's just from, like I said, past contacts being able to be brought back into that. Like I came from a career in management. I was also in the medical field, doing surgery and things like that for a while. But I've always loved the managing and the bowling industry. And that's when Tony started mentoring me. And the rest is history. I woke up one day and they said, "Hey, we're offering you this job. Would you like to take it?" And I jumped on that.
You almost had to think about it, right?
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad that, like, I had a chance to meet the owners from Korea. They came over ahead of time. Like, I sat down and met with them in March, and again in at the end of June. And everything just worked out. We had numbers going back and forth, and they were able to meet what we needed to meet. And that's when, on July 1st, I ended up taking over the company.
Well, tell us a little bit about your the brands that you have. I know you have. You said you had 3 different brands. Can you take us through a little bit about that?
Okay, we have the 3 main brands that we have. We're doing Lord Fields. We don't make Lord Fields here in the United States. We're just a distributor for them. But what we make here in our Stockton plant, we make Lane Masters balls. That ranges from like a beginner, like we have balls that are reactive with pancake weight blocks, up to an upper mid-range. And then we have our Legends by Lane Master. That's our top of the line. That's usually our 2-piece balls or 2-piece asymmetric balls, different things like that. We don't spare any expense on those balls. Granted, like any other company, they cost a little more, but you know it's going to be a top quality ball.
So that's your top of the line.
Yep, that Legends is the top of the line, and not to mention any names, we had actually let some of the Legends and even the Lane Master balls get into hands of some of the PBA bowlers, and they love them. We do plan on making our entry back into the PBA. We're looking at probably Summer Swing this summer.
Summer Swing. Grassroots or full?
Right now is grassroots, and then we'll be looking at a full-fledged PBA sponsorship.
Oh, great! I'm sure a lot of people out there would be happy to hear that. I know.
Right, and we already have been in the works with some different pros. Some ready to branch out into PBA 50. We have some for the women's tour already, and like I said, we got balls into the hands of some of the younger pros to let them try it out, and we're going to try to see who we can get for the regular tour.
Well, great. That's so exciting news. I'm glad you brought that up. You brought up staffers. You know, a lot of companies have amateur staff, pro staff. Can you explain your staff levels to us? I know there's a lot of people are confused on some of the other staff companies. You know, I'm not naming any names, but you know what I'm talking about. Some of the staff levels, or if you had to buy 8 different things, or can you explain that to us?
Okay, we have different levels of staff. Our top being the national staff. You know, we're not national pro staff right now, but these are the people that have invested the time, the years into our company, that have lots of bowling balls, that have been with us through the good, through the bad. They've been promoted to national. Below them, we have regional, where we have key people around the United States. And what they do is they go out, they help the pro shops. They try to recruit new bowlers, getting them to try Lane Masters, Legends, Lord Field. We also have area staff. That's your regular house bowlers, tournament bowlers. They go around. They do have a point that they have to buy balls, but you're looking at a minimum. They have a year to buy 3 balls. You know, where other companies, yeah, you are with them, you're required to use only them. That happens with us once you do secure 8 bowling balls. So if it takes 2 years, 3 years, that's fine. Then if they've been with us that long, we look into them. Well, where are they bowling out of? Can we get them into a regional position? Do they want to be a regional sales position? Some say yes, some would rather just stay where they are. We also have a staff, just advisory, for people that are curious about our company, that want to see what the balls will do, and there's no exclusivity with that. You buy a ball, buy a couple of balls, throw it. You like it, you want to stay with us, fine. You can still get your discounts on all your balls, all your bags, any equipment we have. They receive discounts on.
And that was my next question. Being a staffer, I know different levels of interest. Discount for each different level. Say I'm an entry level staff. What kind of discount would I get? Say area staff.
Okay, you would as advisory or entry level, you're probably going to see about 20% discount, all the way up to national staff. Our national staff is actually a ball contract. They receive 3 cases of balls per year. Anything else they buy, they're getting about 33% off. So technically, with a bowling ball, they're getting 3 cases plus every other ball they want to buy after that. They're just paying cost for.
And they get first chance at the new releases?
Yeah, they usually get the new releases 2 weeks before regional staff does. Regional gets theirs 2 weeks before the area and the public gets it. So there's usually a month between when we have a new release and the public gets it. Okay. Like we have a new ball coming out. Should be out. It's actually being, we started pouring it Friday, and it should be ready to be released sometime by the end of the week. It's going to be our Black Pearl Atlantis. It's going to be a 2-piece all-pearl ball, aggressive weight block, going to go nice and long, and then have some snap right at the end.
That sounds exciting. We'll have to wait to see that one. I know.
Yeah, beautiful looking ball. It's pearl blue, pearl yellow.
Now, I've had some people ask me questions, and being a part of something special is important to me. Just being a staffer, sometimes I've had a bad experience being a staffer, as you know quite well what happened out there in the past. How is it, say, Lane Masters? How is it special to be a staffer around your company?
You can ask most any staffer you run into. We treat our staff like we don't call each other staff members. Our logo, if you ever saw our Facebook pages, the post right there is family. That's exactly what we're about. You don't have to average 200, 220 to be on staff. What we're looking for is the house bowler, the bowler that is averaging 160, 170, that wants to become better, that wants to be able to throw top quality equipment at affordable prices. That was Tony's dream, and that was the dream I told him that I would continue as long as I ran the company. And that's what we're after. It's like we have our averages. We have people right now that'll run from the 140s, and we actually have someone that's averaging 246 right now.
And they get the staffers get access to other staffers to answer questions and be in touch with them.
Right, because we have, depending on your level, we have a staff group from area and the beginning staff, and they have all those staffers all the way up to the national staffers in one group. So anytime anyone has a question, there's always someone ready to jump on, help answer it. We have staffers that work in pro shops. They love to give out drilling techniques, because you always have questions. Hey, what's the best way to drill this ball out? This is my rev rake. This is my tap. And there's always someone willing to throw their 2 cents in there. And it's really helped a lot of them. And what I love, the stories that I get back, since I've been throwing your equipment, I've gone from 160, I'm averaging 190 this year. That's what it's all about. And it was Tony's logo, changing bowling one bowler at a time. That's what we're still trying to bring out here. We're a family. We're a family.
And that's what's missing in a lot of companies is the family aspect. A lot of staffers are just you're a number, and this is a number, and there's your ball, and goodbye. That's not what lot bowlers are looking for. Looking for being part of something a little more special. And I'm glad that you're embracing that, especially nowadays where bowlers are becoming hard to find. Bowling being down as much as it is, especially here in some of the more depressed areas.
You know, all my staffers, they have, they're friends with me on Facebook. They have my personal email. They have my personal cell number. If they have a question, anything that they need, they can email me. I told them, email me, message me 3 o'clock in the morning. I may not get right back to you, but by the morning when I get up, you'll have an answer. And that's the way I try to deal with them. You know, I'm here for them. Without them, I wouldn't be having a position.
So, yeah, that's
why
true.
Look, they need me, I'll answer them.
Now, tell us about, you said you had a new release. That was what was that again? The Black Pearl?
The Black Pearl Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Where it was one of Tony's favorite line. He's always loved the Black Pearl, but I wanted a little more aggressive pearl. So that's what we did with this one. And the way that it's set up, this ball goes, it's so clean through the front and the mids. As soon as it hits the friction, it makes a turn, but it's not one of those hockey stick effects. It's like you've got this nice hard arc to the ball. Granted, you can do anything you want with the ball to make it react the way you want, but the main attributes of this ball is length with a hard arc. And then right behind that, we have, I call this one my baby, the Pandemics. The Pandemics came out, that was my ball. We created it with the weight block I wanted, the colors, the cover stock. And that was the first ball. We've already made 3 batches of this ball and sold out every batch. We actually have another batch that's going to be coming out for the end of next week. And we created a new Pandemic called the Pandemic Helix, which will be a hybrid version of the original Pandemic.
If you don't mind, Bob, we can take a color if you don't mind. I believe we have Jack from Las Vegas. You're on with Bob Kuliga from Lane Masters, California Bowling LLC.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Bob. This is Jack Hart out of Las Vegas.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
I'm really impressed in how you're positioning your product, making everyone feel like family. You know, when it comes to some of the other companies, it's like they're all elite, and you really can't communicate with too many of them.
Exactly. That's why I wanted a difference.
And boy, you definitely have, and I admire how you're doing your marketing with the local bowlers, being on staff and regional staff and advisory staff. I'm looking forward to ordering a couple of balls myself, 2 at the most.
Great.
What position or what would that level be referred to as?
Okay, like if you just wanted to get a couple of balls to see what that would be like, that would be our level 4 or our advisory, where you can still throw whatever company you want. You can get as many balls as you want or as few balls as you want. And because who knows? Who wants to say, yes, I'm going with this company. I want to sign a contract for, I'm going to get 8 balls. But then you throw a couple, and it's like, hey, this really doesn't fit my game. Because I know as I was growing up, there are all the big name companies out there. I couldn't score with all of them. There are a couple that are right now that are still out there. It's like anytime someone came out with the ball, it's like, ooh, that looked good. Who is it? Oh, I can't throw them. You just met. So this way, it'll allow you to get a ball, get 2 balls, see what it's like. And if it works for your game, great. You'll be back. You'll be getting more balls. If it didn't work for you, well, even if you got in and got some of our closeout balls, you'd be spending $60 on a ball.
Now,
if you spent $60 and it didn't work, it's $60.
Not 229.
Right.
I worked with a chemist in '86 and '87 manufacturing balls in Lakeview Terrace, California, and we made a few balls. We were trying to get up to the 1,500 count to be able to market it to the PBA Tour. I know how hard it is to get great manufacturing and a high-quality product and to try to get it on tour. Your balls, Are you seeing much of a difference from the quality of the Lord Fields to the Lane Master Legends? Is there much of a difference in those?
There is not, with the quality, there is not much difference because as a company, we buy the resin from one manufacturer. And actually, that manufacturer is in the United States. So we get the resin, and then we also ship the resin over to Korea. They make their line over there. We make our line here. Because there's still that stigmata in the United States, oh, but we only want equipment that's made in the United States.
Perfect.
Let me
now,
tell
the
you.
chemist that I was working with, he was getting his stuff from BASF.
Right.
And, Chad Davis. And this was one of the original urethane chemists that made the original, basically, skateboard wheels right on up. And interesting stuff. We had a hard time of it. We had to get balls on the market to sell, and they were definitely inferior. And when we finally got to an excellent ball, I lost control of the company, and then it became the first reactive resin ball company.
Okay.
How long has Lane Masters been making balls?
Okay, Lane Masters we actually go back to the early 2000s. There was a Lane Master company years ago, and what actually happened, Tony was involved with that Lane Master, Tony, Fred Gordon, and that. With some of the people involved, there was a lawsuit over weight blocks. Nothing over the quality of balls, but because of that, the original Lane Masters, or it was American Bowling, filed bankruptcy. And then they stopped the company. Lord Fields has actually been in the bowling industry for 19 years. They are one of the top names out on the Asian market.
Okay.
And then Tony ended up working back for Lord Field. And then he had talked to them about, look, where we own the weight blocks, you have quality resins, let's bring Lane Master back. And that's what they did about 4.5 years ago, and they created, instead of American Bowling, California Bowling.
Now, when you mentioned a lawsuit about weight blocks, this is embarrassing. At Custom Urethane, we were doing a three-piece ball, and then we decided to toss a weight block in the core, a dense core, and we actually used the shape of a plumbing fixture for the core piece. So we had a weight block, dense core, but it was actually a plumbing fixture. But it worked out well.
Right. You will get things, you wouldn't believe the way some of the weight blocks will look, but they work. But so that's how we ended up getting California Bowling. We always owned the weight blocks, and then one of the owners was saying, no, that's my weight block. No, it's not. It's owned by the company. So they went through that. They claimed the bankruptcy. They closed everything out, and then that's when Tony had talked to them about, let's bring Lane Masters back. We'll create California Bowling, and that's where we've been ever since. And like your main question about the resin and Lord Field balls, they always use the top-of-the-line resin, so we're both using the same resins.
Gotcha. Now, I see a ball coming out, or just came out, Assassin, a reddish-colored ball.
That's the Judgment Assassin, yes. It was using one of our older weight blocks that we had, and it's a really, really aggressive pearl.
So I see it's basically like a three-piece ball with the pancake weight block, the dense core also. Is that good description?
Yes, perfect description.
Very similar to what we were doing at Custom Urethane, and then what later on the chemist did with Excalibur. And that seemed that weight block formulation seemed to really slap the pins, which I enjoyed. Yep,
and we've done that. That's we did that with the earlier version of the Judgment. We also did that with one of the Lane Master balls that we released, the Perfect. We had that little pancake or weight puck that we put right up the top, and it worked.
a puddle that we would pour in the core mold.
Right.
Have you ever considered doing a dual weight block configuration using basically two dense pancakes in a heavy core.
That we haven't tried, but now that I have that idea going through my head, who knows?
Uh-oh.
Because they more or less, they said, Bob, it's January now, come up with balls that we want to release for next year. Like I'm trying right now, and we're trying to make it with the resins. Like we have the hybrid balls, we have the solid and the pros that we're making together. I want to get a reactive urethane hybrid blend. So, it's going to react a little more than urethane, but not as much as even an entry-level reactive. I want it for an entry-level or when you're getting on really burnt lanes.
I could use that.
So that's my next goal.
At one time, an epoxy ball was on the market. Do you remember that?
Was that the Omega?
I believe that's one of them. Yeah, there's a couple of epoxy. Balls
I do remember that. And then USBC or ABC said no, those balls are illegal.
Now, which it's another can of worms. Now, when I was at Custom Urethane, we were eventually going to do a dual weight block, similar to the old Brunswick Mark X.
Okay.
That was an amazing weight block configuration. Carmen Salvino designed it to draw your fingers in the top weight block and the thumb in the lower weight block. But
I remember that was like a brown color ball, right?
Right, but the shell material was messed up and the core was too hard. Now we found if we drilled the ball sideways with one weight block on the track and the other weight block on the access point, created a monster.
That's very interesting.
If you would like more information about some of the weight blocks that the chemist and I came up with, we'd love to talk to you about it. But,
sure. I'm always looking for something.
Have you ever considered pouring balls for a third party? So I know there's a few out there that are looking for manufacturers.
Yes, that's a definite. I actually just made contact with a brand new company that is releasing a ball in January, and hopefully we're in the midst of working something out so I can pour his upcoming balls. But yes, we are open to pouring for third parties, and we're right here in the United States.
Oh, great.
Outstanding. That's what we love to hear.
Yes. Bob, what can we expect from Lane Masters in the future? Anything exciting we can look forward to besides the new releases?
Just more like we plan on releasing an average of one new ball a month, and it's not always going to be top performance balls. We're going to be doing the entry level balls. Like I said, we're going after the masses, the people that average the 170s, the 160s, like that want to become better. So not everything is going to be a $200 ball. We're going to offer balls that they'll be able to get between $100 and $125. We're getting into a lot of pro shops now. I'm looking to get into a national distributor. So those are my goals for 2017.
Well, great. That's we're looking forward to seeing that, and we hope we can get some more of your product out there. Well, thank you, Jack, for your questions, and thank you, Bob, for taking the time to be with us. And everyone can
no problem. Anytime.
I know people can go to lanemasters.com and check out all their products.
lanemasters.com, but in between Lane Masters, there's a hyphen.
So it's Lane
Lane-Masters.com.
And they can order on that site.
Are we expecting to see your ball on tour this summer?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking to be grassroots by this summer, so PBA 50 and the women regionals, men regionals. But then within the year, I would like to be national touring.
And that's meaning we might see your ball on TV, I'm guessing, right?
I would love to. I can't wait for the first time we do.
I wanted to close the show by saying a few words. We started these podcasts to get information out to the bowlers and, like Bob said, out to the masses. We have a lot of stuff to work on as bowlers and bowling in general, and it's companies like Lane Masters helping bowlers get something in their hands that's not going to cost them a fortune. And bowling doesn't have to be expensive. It's going to be fun, and if you get something that's good quality and less expensive, please take a look at them and try them out. And again, if you have any bowling-related ideas for the show, you can email us here at bowlingbeyond200@gmail.com. And again, Bob, thank you for taking the time.